of dialectical tension. And I said, well, I was about 13. I said, I don't know what that means. He says, when you know what that means, then you strike that balance. Well, that is personified by author, philosopher, activist, Dr. Michael Eric Dyson. He will be with us at Nash Action Network's convention. He's on the live line. Dr. Dyson.
Doc, I'm ready to go to heaven, Doc. As the man William R. Jones said, I need you to introduce me to Jesus. To heaven, Doc. Oh my God, Doc, your oratorical genius is unparalleled, and it stuns me to this day that people take this for granted. That what you do on a daily basis is so utterly remarkable. People with one radio show on for 3 hours are exhausted after doing that. That's just 1/10 of what you do every day in terms of ministering to this world as the preeminent leader of our generation, one of the greatest of all time, and to have this opportunity even to chat with you and to be in your presence. I know your audience knows how blessed and fortunate it is, as I am, and we continue to hold up your arms of the prophet as you continue to tell the truth to this nation, man. We love and celebrate you for the television, for the radio, for being in the streets, for being on the front lines of leadership, and for representing us with such power and such grace, man. I just love you and celebrate you and so grateful to be in your presence, sir.
Well, thank you. We are excited that you are coming opening day tomorrow to the National Action Network convention, and you've done it before. They called me and said, Dr. Dyson said he's not coming Thursday, he's coming on the opening day. I said, would you tell Socrates where to sit in the Pantheon? He come when he want to come.
Doc, ask your service. Ask your service, man, because look, no way I was missing that, because they had messed up with my schedule. I had to go to Boston. I said, look, I'm calling the beg. Can I get on the Tea Party handling panel? Can I get on the shoe shining committee? I don't care. Because when we look back 100 years and people say, where were you when Reverend Al Sharpton was leading the movement that represented the best of our interests? I want to say right by his side and doing whatever I can. So I'm so honored.
Well, you there, and we're opening with Eric Holder and then Tom Perez, and then the panel that you will be on with Joy Reid and others talking about how do we organize and deal in this era of Trump. One of the things, though, that has really put things into focus is your book. I mean, this is a book that even the New York Times had to put on the bestseller list for weeks and weeks and weeks. Tell us how it's doing and give people a snippet of what the book is about, because I want them to be able to get it and read it. Don't give it all to them.
Thank you, Doc. Well, thank you so much for that. Yes, sir. This book is really it's called Tears We Cannot Stop, a sermon to white America. And I said, look, what I want to do, I was trying to write a book. After I wrote that op-ed last summer, after Sterling and Castile were murdered, were killed by the police, I said, I'm tired of this. I got to respond. I wrote an op-ed for the New York Times. That thing got over 2,500 responses online. They had to shut it down.
Wow.
And then this book grew out of it. But I tell you, Doc, I was struggling because I've written, including the one book I edited. This is my 20th book, 19th that I've written, and one that I edited. And I was struggling with this book. I said, I've written essays, I've written sermons, I've written, what they call a monograph, one book with one idea. But I couldn't, for the life of me, put on paper what I was thinking in an acceptable fashion. I went to bed one night arguing with my editor. We fighting and scrapping and everything. And I went to bed one night and it came to me, man, go back to your roots and just preach. And I got up, Doc, and I wrote the outline for this book as a sermon. It lit me up. It lit the editor up. It lit the publishers up. And so from there, I said, I'm going to cast this book like a religious service with an opening hymn and prayers and the sermon and then the benediction and on all that. So that's what this book is set up like. And I'm trying to tell white brothers and sisters that we've got to end the nightmare of white privilege, white innocence, and white power and figure out a way to our common humanity. And what it means to be white is not something God gave you that you're born with. It's what the society tells you is the meaning of race, the meaning of whiteness. You know, a lot of white people say, look, I'm European, or I'm Eastern or Western European, I'm Polish, Italian, Irish, Jewish. But when you come to America in the crucible of race, those ethnicities are pulverized and they reemerge as whiteness. As James Baldwin said, whiteness is a political fiction. It's a political identity. It's something that people give meaning to. The society in which we live gives us a sense of what it means to be white. And often that is meant to exercise privilege, not to be aware of the hurt and pain and trauma that other people endure. You know, Reverend, we hear these new reports about white people dying increasingly of diseases of despair. Welcome to the program. We know what that means. And we ain't dissing. Look, we understand. We're empathetic with white folk who are dying from addiction and from alcoholism and that kind of thing. But when in the 1980s, when Negroes were dying and Latinos were dying, and then they were involved in the political economy of crack, they just thought we were thugs and savages and said we brought it on ourselves. Now that people are addicted to methamphetamine or addicted to, certain kinds of meth and addicted to the opioids and stuff, they're saying let's medicalize them. They criminalize us. They want to medicalize white brothers and sisters. I ain't mad, but I'm just saying that's the difference that race makes. That's the difference whiteness makes. You can be medicalized while we're getting criminalized, and in the same time, we refuse to acknowledge that black people are suffering from diseases of despair long before, but without recognition. So this book is asking white brothers and sisters to take stock of their own culture and to forge connections and links with us as we try to fight a common enemy.
Wow. Well, I'm telling you, it's a monumental book, and like I said, even the New York Times and those kinds of papers of record have given it the kind of gravity that it deserves. And I think that you have represented that high thinking, but in a way that it relates to those that are unlearned and unlettered. And you mastered bringing in the contemporary. I was talking to Charlemagne the God and others who admire you because you can teach, as you have in Georgetown, Jesse and Jay-Z. And that bridge is remarkable and ingenious. And that is the times we live in. This is the 21st century. We're not in the mid-20th century anymore.
Yes, sir. No, well, thank you for that, Doc, because you are on the cutting edge of that. You go from William Jones to James Brown. So you exemplified that and Jesse Jackson and gave one of the most, I tell you, we're going to publish it one day, one of the most brilliant analyses, maybe the most brilliant analysis of Jesse Jackson in a single setting I have ever heard. But we celebrate, people like you, and I thank God for Charlemagne the God who's on the cutting edge doing what he does as a young man, because you have given us the example, and it's very important for people to understand. You were doing it when it wasn't even popular. You were doing it. You were doing it in your own body, in your own spirit. You were identifying when you wore, those running suits and people trying to make fun. You identified with the people who were demonized, and now they're being elevated. The reason those people love you now is because you were with them in their dress and style on the streets when bourgeois Negroes were casting aspersion against them. And now that you're wearing your tailored suits and looking tremendous, the people on the streets have never forgotten what you represent and know that all you've done is make a transition from the streets to the suites to articulate the value of our grief and the power of our love and why we need to transform this society. And what I'm trying to do intellectually is to try to match as much as I can what you've done in those very powerful forums and to take it to the kids in the schools to say, this is the kind of stuff we got to study. We got to think about this. We got to reflect on it because the Psalms ain't nothing but the gangster rap of its time, the rap of the time, people thinking and reflecting on their culture, their tradition, and that's why I'm glad to be part of what you're doing.
Well, we're looking forward to seeing you tomorrow. You said it right. Spike Lee will be there. Spike said we just all grew up together. That's how we dressed. Me and Russell and Spike around the same age. We just grew up together and wasn't ashamed of it. Dr. Michael Eric Dyson on his way to New York to the National Action Network convention. Get the book and be in the house tomorrow and hear him as he breaks it down. Thank you, Dr. Dyson. Let me take a break, going back to the phones. Keeping it real. Shopton right after.